What's up? It's me, Jonas. Check out this cool little toy I found outside in the barn. Um, talk about it in a second. At Legal Defense Network, this article that we read by Mr. Marty Hayes, which was titled Gun Modifications, Light Triggers, and Reloaded Ammunition. They talked about the legalities and something he thought that I also agree with that you can do that sounds scary. However, the fundamentals of it, the way it would explain in court, isn't the same. So it's not a check that the forensic guys do on the reset of the trigger, because we can smooth all that stuff down and let it go back to reset from being pulled. The lighter we can let it back, the smoother we let it back, the less movement there is here. See this, the movement in my fingers and hand right here? Okay, so we can only have so much. There, see that yaw in the front of my hands? This yaw right here. That's from your 4 to 5 pound trigger pull and release. Okay, the release, which is going to help you get back smoother and keep that firearm still at your point of aim, is your factory standard, which I don't know of any law that says that the factory is the expert on who can shoot straighter than this guy with this much. I mean, everybody's different. So I just want to rebut the whole article. Like, the whole article is doom and gloom, and it's like, oh gosh, we should just give up because if you want to modify the trigger on no matter what side of the trigger, face of the trigger you want to modify it, but know that you have to stand for your actions. I mean, don't modify something that you know that you're going to get in trouble for and then be like, oh, it wasn't me. No, don't. If you're going to do it, but there's no reason to fear the government that's coming for everybody's gun rights and have to worry about this. If everybody pay attention and vote like we need to be voting to keep America correct, like America, and not just like some other place that's spinning out of control. But the cat makes you more accurate for the simple fact that when you're returning to your reset with your trigger, you have less of that yaw. So you can keep on your you keep your target acquisition, and you can return to your point of aim and go right back, and it's just another edge honer. I mean, it's just another honing tool. All it is dialing something in more precision for
Go.
sorry about all the edit marks. My wife likes to remind me of things when I'm on rants, but I told her, like, I'm on a rant right now because this guy is really afraid of the government that he's created with his voting and rap music with this. I digress. I mean, even the rednecks with their rebel culture and their outlaw ways, everybody losing all their rights, can't even have guns. This is how they're disarming America, y'all. But we wouldn't have to worry about this stuff if everybody pay attention to the voting. But I agree with the combat action trigger, which is what I'm calling a cat, that keeps your fundamentals a little bit smoother and crisp. It lets you return to reset with your trigger faster because it's smoother. Point blank. It's been honed down and smoothed out. And the cat does this by the smoother friction return, allowing less movement. Your the forensic team, that if you do get into a shooter situation, or your client gets into a shooter situation, given that they're not just some gangster or outlaw that's listening to the radio and thinks he's got a pair of brass ones, it's forensic team that's going to do this analysis on this thing is going to look at the trigger pull, because they're going to say that, you know, you kept pulling the trigger until you was out of bullets, and you know how that proves the whole legalities with trying to prove that somebody was intended to kill somebody as compared to somebody was defending their lives is pointless with how much your trigger pull weighs. But they're going to use that and say that your trigger pull being lighter helped you get off a bunch of shots, but it's really your reset. I do believe that it is your reset, that your trigger pull does have something to do with it, but on your second shot it has to do with your reset, not just your trigger squeeze to begin with, because your trigger squeeze, that shot's already fired, so it's already, I mean, if you just threw it out there and it was easy to squeeze, maybe you got it out there and the weight of the gun centering in your hand popped it and threw it straight. But this isn't Hollywood, and you know nobody wants this kind of bull mess on their videos. But they're not going to see how much friction is letting this trigger return to reset, and it's not been in the case yet. I mean, it's just another thing that's not been in the case yet. It's easier to explain. Any trigger I ever do, no matter what I do to anybody's trigger, I'll be there. If they're in court, I'll be there, whether they were stupid and messed up or not, because you know, I'm not a psychic. Miss Cleo was a fake, and there's no way for me to say, this man is sane enough for me to do this work. As long as the firearms, as long as we make sure that our Constitution is okay, we can keep protecting our Constitution. And as long as we got that, then anything's defensible, because you can't, I mean, without a shadow of a doubt, prove that that's what helped me shoot, when it could be my military training that made me diligent in the situation, and or it could be my military training that I used to be felonious. It's all on my discretion and my choice. It's never on the gunsmith. They can try and put it on you only because the government wants to take everybody's rights. An armed human is a citizen. A unarmed human is a subject. And that's the bottom line, because the second protects the first. But I do agree with, and I will provide this trigger service for the point of if somebody's scared or worried about it. But if they're scared or worried about it, I don't think that they're going to end. I think that they're going to end up mugged, or they're going to end up shot with their own gun, or I don't know what they'll do. But they deserve the right to be able to defend themselves. But a combat action trigger is one way to do it, and that's one way we're going to do it at Golden Roswell.